Thank you. The blue economy is surging, but its workforce is drastically underbuilt. As Mississippi's workforce strategy leader, I've seen firsthand how our system fails to produce enough of the workers that we need in the trades and the blue economy and beyond. It's time to build a new model, a model that supports what we need more of and encourages our institutions to produce that. We've got to decide on what that is, though. I argue that our education and human capital infrastructure needs an infusion. We need to look at it as though it's a critical need, because it is. As we look at AI around the country and around Mississippi, anybody heard of a data center? That's part of the blue economy. And as we're navigating this, it takes thousands of workers to build a single data center. Those same workers would ultimately end up in shipbuilding or in existing industry or in other places, but they may be going to construction instead. It's time to look at our models and decide, do we want more or do we want more of the same? I'll argue that we want more. We want more opportunities for Mississippians. We want them to live and grow and work. As we think about the blue economy, it's truly an opportunity to lean in. It's truly an opportunity to get serious and think about how the water that we deal with every day, that we stand on, that we play in, how it guides our future. Right now, we're standing on top of the coastal lowlands aquifer system. To the west of us is the Pearl River Basin. To the south of us is the Mississippi Sound. Mississippi has over 82,000 miles of rivers and streams. 82,000 miles. When stacked end to end, you end up going around the world 3 times. This is critical infrastructure that most of us don't see every day. We don't pay any attention to it. We go to work, we do everything we're going to do, but it literally built our economy. If you think about our history, we've worked in and around the blue economy for hundreds of years. Our rivers turned into highways, and our safe harbors turned into places where we built communities. As we've navigated that, we've learned a lot. We've learned how to survive the tides. We've learned how to rebuild after hurricanes. But mostly, I think we've learned how to be human and allow the humans that we are working with, that we are working for, to grow and expand. As we think about what the next wave of the world looks like, it's going to include AI, artificial intelligence. And depending on how much of a techie you are, how much you're bought into it, what that impact is going to be to our entire culture, to our blue economy, remains to be seen. But as we think about it, we've got the opportunity right now to say, you know what? We know that the AI world and the blue economy world that we're in is driving our future. We know that we need more people. We need more talent. We know that we have to produce more of it. So I say we need a new model. I say we need a new model that actually rewards institutions for producing more of it. I think we have to fund what we want more of. If you think about the number of data center technicians, that is really small compared to the number of construction workers that we need. I'm talking 20 or 30 to operate a facility versus 2,000 or 3,000 to build it. HVAC technicians, plumbers, electricians, all of these fields we are in desperate need of. But our funding models don't necessarily prioritize that. Right now, our leaders are looking at this. They're examining, what do we need to do to be able to produce the workforce of the future? And I'm really glad, because our estimates show that we need 19,000 additional workers in this space over the next 10 years between now and 2035. 19,000 more than we can already produce today. That requires a change in funding. That requires a thought shift. It means we have to take money away maybe from things that misalign with our regions and what they need to be producing more of. It means we need to prioritize the simple fact that if we are going to produce these people, we are going to have to start early. I think in a new model, we've got to bump our career technical education down to the 6th grade. And it needs to be a part of the fabric of the education of our students, not a separate program, not a separate building, but day to day. We need our teachers to understand the jobs that are available in their own communities. Right here in the Southern Miss and the Gulf Coast, We have all these blue economy jobs that you can't see some of. You can't see the marine biotech on the ocean floor that's farming different compounds. You can't even see the autonomous vehicles mapping the ocean floor. We have to make sure we're exposing all of our teachers to that world because they're the ones who are going to expose our students. The earlier we can get to them, the better. I say 6th grade. I don't mean they need to be welding on a welder at the 6th grade, but I do think they need to experience it. I think by 11th grade, if they're ready to go to work or ready to go to post-secondary, we should let them. And not only should we let them, we should support them, and our industry should be driving that. They're not all going to be ready, and that's perfectly fine. But the ones who are, they ought to be able to go. I think we need more work-based learning. And if you look at the evidence, it shows we do actually need more work-based learning. But not just a job where they go sit at a desk or file some papers, a job where they get to see the world around them and interact with them. Students may not need to do this for a year or 2 years to determine whether or not they like the industry, but they need to have some broad exposure between the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, even 10th grade, so that by the 11th grade, by the time they're on average 16 years old, they can just go and experience it. If they know a little bit of something, when they get to work, they can be a lot more productive than they would have been on their own. I think we need that because I don't know how else we're truly going to close the gap. Not just the gap on the number of people we need, but the gap on the interest level that we need to be building to keep our kids engaged and interested and just happy. We need to show them more of the blue economy because it's pretty cool. No matter where you are in Mississippi, the blue economy touches you. If you think about it, think about all the industries. If you don't have water, you don't have agriculture. If you don't have ports, you don't have trade. If you don't have aquifers, you don't have industry. All of these different industries literally lead us forward. If you think about the blue economy as part of that, it's a $30 billion a year industry in Mississippi. $30 billion, 42,000 jobs. Worldwide, it's 100 million jobs. Something like $3 trillion today, and it's expected to double in the next 5 years. That is a massive industry. And yes, AI is coming, and yes, it's building things, and it's wonderful, and it's beautiful, but we still have to have humans who can build that infrastructure. When you think about this infrastructure that we rely on every single day to go back and forth to work, to cross over these water in the streams and those kinds of things, it's in desperate need of more workers. You know, as our leaders are examining the funding models, we're asking them, what do we want more of? And it's a pretty simple question, but it's a pretty challenging answer because maybe we haven't all agreed that we need more of the same thing. And that's okay. But I think if we don't want our economy to grind to a halt, we're going to have to spend some time on that. We're going to have to spend some money on that. We're going to have to reward the system to produce, or as it's producing, more of what we need. I think as we move forward and we look at this and we think about the other types of changes that need to be made, I think we're doing a really good job. I think we've provided human lighthouses in the form of career coaches in the state of Mississippi across almost every single high school that wants them. And that's a great first step. Those lighthouses have to understand at a very deep level, what jobs are available in their communities and their state, not just the ones and the path that they chose to get where they are today. And that's the hard part. That's the thing that you can't know everything about everything, and that's where we deeply need our industry partners. We need our industry partners at the table to do more than just attend a curriculum meeting and eat lunch every once in a while or get OJT funds from the feds. We need them to tell us, what competencies do you need? How many people do you need to have it? What's the entry-level competency? That's something I think your shipbuilders on the coast are doing a really good job of. They're getting together and they are saying, this is what we need, period. We'll handle the rest. You just need to get them there. And oh, by the way, we need like triple of what you know about right now. Great, that's awesome. But as we think about this and as we work through this, a lot of uncomfortable conversations have to happen. But I would rather have those conversations here as a family. And when you think about it, we're 10 years into a massive educational shift. Well, really 12 at this point. But the educational shift that the state made in reading has changed everything for the state of Mississippi. If you don't know, over the last 10 years, Mississippi rose higher than any other nation in its math and reading scores. Our readers are now ranked ninth in the nation. Math scores are like 16th. That's amazing. It's not something you normally think about when you think of Mississippi. I love that, and I want more of that. I think what got us here, though, is not going to get us where we need to go. That's why I say we need a new model. That's why I say we need to get kids more engaged with the careers around them earlier. That's why I think we need to get our 16-year-olds out into the workplace. You know, I jokingly say we need to let your kids get yelled at by somebody else for a little while. And I think it makes a difference. And as we're looking at that and as we're driving forward with that, it's a very simple concept. Expose them to things we want them to know. We cannot tell them their entire life that they have to leave to be successful. We have to show them what success looks like in their community. That's where our human lighthouses can be of assistance. That's where our counselors and our teachers can be of assistance. And that's absolutely where our industries can be of assistance. Because there's nothing that makes a difference quite like an industry leader with their company logo on their chest coming into a classroom and saying, I'm from X company, and I want to tell you about what we do, and then finding some way to engage them. They love it. It's amazing. But as you think about it and where we are as a state, it's pretty interesting. When you think of Mississippi, you don't often think, I'm going to guess, most people don't think of high K-12 test scores, workforce of the future. But that's where we are today. That's what the world is saying about us. But for the most part, we don't see it. I don't see it every day because my job isn't to celebrate all these successes and sit on the sidelines and cheerlead. My job is to identify the gaps to make sure that we don't stop here. Because I know for a fact that what got us here won't get us there, and I think we all know it instinctively. We're probably going to disagree on how we get there, and that's great. But we have to acknowledge that this feels good. It feels good for our people. It feels good for the world that we're in, and it certainly feels good for the next generation. When you think about the economy of the Mississippi Gulf Coast, a lot of people think about casinos and shipboats if they're not from here, right? That's what you see. But it's more than that. We're launching Navy destroyers. The next generations of nation's defense is coming right off of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We're testing rockets. We're mapping the ocean floor with AI and uncrewed vehicles. All of those things have training programs right here in Mississippi, right on the coast, and then throughout the coast, depending. It's a beautiful thing as a workforce person. It's great to watch, but I can tell you without a doubt we need more. We've got to have more pathways at every level of education if we're going to close the gap. We need more recruiting, not only into the programs, but recruiting people from other states to come into Mississippi. We talk a lot about the people we send out of the state, and we do a pretty good job of preparing our workforce to go to work anywhere in the world, and I think that's wonderful. But let's flip the tide. Let's recruit people into this state. You think about the silver economy, as they call it, and the workforce and the workers that are coming in, part-time workers, caregivers, they want to stay engaged. Let's keep them engaged. Let's train them for encore careers. Let's add them to our labor force instead of just assuming they're going to come here and just enjoy the beach every day, although that's a pretty good sell. Maybe we can talk them into staying around a little bit longer. As we navigate this, it's just like the water. It really is no difference than how the water operates. It's amazing and it's powerful, and the more water you have running in a direction, the more power you have behind it, and I think we need a lot more of that. I think we're on the right track, and it is so fun to watch that and be a part of that, but we're not done. We have a good bit of ways to go, and I think we need to acknowledge that, and I think we need to allow ourselves the freedom to figure out what that looks like for us, what it looks like for each community, what it looks like for the state. And it's okay if that's a little bit different for everybody. As we work through the next generation, we don't often think, I don't hear people talking about AI being a part of the blue economy. But water is what's cooling those servers. The workforce we're competing with and against is competing with and against the other fields. We need to pay attention to that. And I think there's an opportunity to use the cool factor of AI to recruit more kids into the trades and into the blue economy, to show them what's here using really cool technology and things that they're hearing about, but maybe they can't pin down to what it looks like in their local community. We've got a lot of runway ahead of us, and I'm really excited about it. I think we've got a lot. We are running. and it looks good and it feels good. I think we need to recognize that we are water, each of us. And just as water carves new paths, we can too, if we choose to. I believe that we're on a great path, but that doesn't mean we can't use the momentum that we have gained to carve a new one. Thank you.